Hi, this is Peter Tosta with Classworx and findit.com, and we are going to be speaking with the management of DeltaVera today. We have Sam and Ridge here from the company, and we're going to start out with a question to Sam on why did you guys start DeltaVera?
Well, we started DeltaVera back in January. Both of us had previously been working in the space of cannabis and the hemp industry. We noticed that there was a lack of transparency, reliability, and really just good work practices within the industry. So we started this company to really kind of address all those pain points that we had noticed. So now with DeltaVera, you get a product that you trust, reliable, and it is what it says it is.
Interesting. And when you say you started it back in January, so you guys are fairly new. You started about 5 or 6 months ago?
That's correct.
Okay, so didn't you guys just win an award?
Yeah, we actually, right when we started, we entered in with our first round of gummies that these guys right here are Delta Bears. We partnered up with a good company out of Colorado that was producing these bears, and we branded them and entered them into the Hemp Cup competition 2021 for the High Times magazine, and we won. So that was kind of our first benchmark of success within the industry, was that our gummies were a good product. People loved them, and they also loved our packaging.
That's incredible that in the first 5 months, if not sooner, that you guys already won an award. And when you say High Times magazine, you're talking about High Times magazine that's been around for decades.
Correct.
That's pretty impressive. What made you guys decide on the name DeltaVera?
So Delta in Greek is change, and veritas in Latin is truth. So we kind of wanted to use those ideals, those pillars within the name, to kind of embody what we were trying to bring to the industry, which was, changing from just your typical Delta 9 to more of a Delta 8. And that's your change. And then also just the truth behind it. All our stuff is QR coded, as you can see here. So you can always look up with any of our products that you buy. You can see the COAs, you can see the product usage, you can see exactly what cannabinoids and what active ingredients are in it that are giving you these effects.
So in sticking with the products and the COAs that come with each product that you guys are putting out, and for anyone that's watching, you can buy these products online at their website, DeltaVera.com. But before we get into, let's talk more about the products and how you guys decided on the different products that you're already making available to consumers.
So we wanted a wide range of products that, could be used by everyone and anyone. So that's why we kind of focused in on a vegan, kosher, gluten-free gummy, which are in our tins. We wanted an assortment of flavors, and we wanted people to be able to really enjoy the product they were taking, not just take it because they wanted the effects, but take it because they actually enjoyed eating the gummy, or smoking the pre-roll. Yeah.
So you right now, there's 2 products that are available. I'm aware of this from, looking at the site and speaking with you guys. They're pre-rolls and the gummies. You guys already won an award on the gummies with High Times, and these products can be purchased online. Now, Ridge, we've been talking a little bit, and I really want you to kind of go in depth as far as the benefits of DeltaVera and the difference between Delta 9 and Delta 8.
Yeah, a really important question, I think, for an informed consumer in the space. So to speak a little bit to the benefits of DeltaVera, they're going to be broader than just the benefits of Delta 8, because we use blends with other minor cannabinoids to sort of enhance or bring out specific effects. And I mean, as anyone who has been a user of marijuana or hemp knows, the effects can be highly variable and can be as influenced by set and setting as they are by the active ingredients. So the benefits are really broad reaching in that sense. And there's a lot of ability for people to kind of get what they want out of the experience. Specifically speaking to that other minor cannabinoids, we have blends with CBDA. We have blends coming out with THCV and with CBN. And these allow for kind of a spin on what would be the effects of just the Delta 8, allowing for a sleepier, a more relaxing, a more uplifting or energetic experience, depending on what you're looking for. In terms of a direct comparison of Delta 8 versus Delta 9, there is, like with all cannabinoid products, limited scientific research on the subject. But what has been done, what the preliminary research seems to indicate, is that Delta 8 is very analogous to Delta 9. But of course, being hemp derived, has a different legal standing than Delta 9. And also critically tends to be a somewhat less intensive experience. There are some indications that, it's essentially a lower dose response. So 20 milligrams of Delta 8 is equivalent to 10 of Delta 9. Again, those facts have not been independently verified by peer-reviewed research. So it's not something that you want to claim. It's going to be something that varies very much from person to person. If I were to speak to my anecdotal experience, I'd say it's more like a 2/3 potency. But again, it's really going to be, how it affects your own neurology and your own chemistry in your body. And so the idea with our product line is that we're going to be able to reach the same people and help the same people that cannabis has been helping for thousands of years. And that's a very wide array of afflictions and just, ways that you can increase having a good time. And so, yeah, I would say that there is a quite wide variety of psychoactive effects that can be achieved from our products, and that a combination of sort of personal experimentation and knowledge of some of these other minor cannabinoids would best inform your decision to choose one product over another for a specific use case.
And when you say one product over another, you're speaking about Delta 9 or Delta 8. Now,
I'm speaking not only about Delta 9 or Delta 8, but the individual product offerings that we have in DeltaVera. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're soon going to be coming out with a new line of infused shots. And those are going to have even more additional minor cannabinoids to give even more custom experiences available to our consumers.
So for the people that are watching that maybe haven't used your products or haven't tried Delta 8 at all as of now, is there a different effect between the pre-rolls and the gummies?
Certainly, absolutely. I mean, for those who haven't tried Delta 9 either, the effect would be a bit more difficult to explain, and you can kind of hit it in the basic scientific terms. The rate of metabolism for an edible is very different than a smoked product. Its peak concentration in your blood is a lot faster in a smoked product. I think something like 40 minutes versus hours for an edible, depending on your metabolism. And also the actual active ingredients that your body is extracting and that are passing the blood-brain barrier are different when you eat cannabinoid versus when you smoke it. So to a customer who's familiar with both smoked and ingested traditional Delta 9 cannabis products, the difference is very analogous to that, an edible versus a smoked product. But to someone who's not familiar with that difference, the basic differences, are going to be duration and the speed of the effects coming on. But there'll be other subtle differences, like the reason that a given person may choose to use an edible versus a smoked product, there's tons of them, from what you're trying to treat to how often you need to redose. And so it's a very complicated question that again kind of gets back to one's individual neurochemistry and not so much a hard and fast rule for every consumer.
So for a consumer, if they haven't used either of the products, it would not be a bad idea for them to try the two different products and see which one is more inclined to what they are looking to achieve as far as effects and outcomes might be.
Absolutely. I would say for existing non-smokers, it may make sense to start with an edible, right?
Okay.
Because that's a big plunge to take if you're not someone who smokes anything already.
That's interesting.
However, if you are a smoker, then yeah, I would say try both and kind of figure out which one fits your lifestyle and your desired needs better. And it may be that the smoked product is better for certain times. I certainly use them in different contexts myself. It's not as if one or the other is better, but both fit a different niche in my lifestyle.
Such an interesting evolvement that we've seen over the last couple of decades to where we are now with these products being available the way that they are online now, so that people can have access to these products without necessarily being shamed or something for taking something similar to this. And which leads me to, who's the person who's your customers now? Who's the people that are buying from DeltaVera and purchasing these products?
So currently we go straight to consumer. So we have our e-commerce site, which allows people to really just hop online, order it, and have it out at their door in 2 to 3 days. But we also sell to brick and mortar establishments nationwide. Currently we're in 3 states, and yes, we're wholesale distributors to them, and they actually have found great success selling our product. The only real thing is that there is a lack of education surrounding Delta 8, Delta 9, and CBD. And most people kind of get confused around that CBD to Delta 8. And that's kind of been our main hurdle in the brick and mortar, is really educating not only the retailers, but the consumer on the differences between CBD, Delta 8, and Delta 9.
So, Ridge, I wanted to ask you, as far as you were describing yourself and how you use the different products for different things at different times, who would you say, I know we were speaking the other day about someone who's got cancer and they use the product on a regular basis. Who would you say is like the, maybe the typical consumer, or maybe someone who would never have used this before, but now they're using it because of the benefits that are out there? Who would that, so the people that are listening and watching, if they're saying, is this right for me? Who is the consumer that is coming on board that wasn't before maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dodge your question too much, but I think that our target market is legal aged adults. Like,
Right.
obviously, this is something only to be used by people who are of legal age in their state to use psychoactive products. That's critical to say up front. But beyond that, because of the sort of individualistic nature of cannabinoid use and the wide variety of things it can be used for, it's easier to rule out categories of people than it is to say this only applies to a certain demographic. I don't know, Sam, if you have too much information on who is currently using our products in terms of demographics, but I do not think that our future customer base is going to be limited by those early adopters and their specific, stats in terms of age or gender or whatever.
I mean,
It's really,
to be
go ahead.
honest, it is really across the board. Like as Peter mentioned, we do have, more than a few cancer patients that are using our product that, and I quote, haven't slept this well in years after using our Delta 8 gummies. And that's the thing. But also we have young adults here in California that are also loving it and go to the skate park after taking a couple gummies or smoking a pre-roll. So it's really kind of on the consumer how they want to use it. And I really don't think we can rule anyone out. As long as they're legal age adults, I don't think we're really targeting one specific market.
What I'm thinking is there's a whole range of people that maybe aren't aware of it and they're becoming aware of it, that are going to become the users of it, versus like who's not. I think it's going to just expand and keep expanding, it seems, as more and more people are educated on Delta 8 and Delta 9 and your product line. Sam, you mentioned earlier that, I'm sorry.
We spoke a little bit about CBD. I think that for a lot of people, it has been an interesting, sort of lens into the cannabis industry. What's nice about our product is that it is CBD derived, and something Sam alluded to briefly. Our product starts its life as hemp, so industrial agricultural hemp, usually grown outdoors, and it has below the 0.3% Delta 9 THC in it, which is how it has that legal status in almost 40 states. And what that means for people is that, obviously it's much easier to get than a regulated Delta 9 product. But also it is sort of a natural next step from a consumer who may have dipped their toes in the water from trying CBD. This is a CBD derived product that's maybe a step towards a more traditional Delta 9 cannabis product.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. And then you had mentioned, Sam, that your products are available in 3 states right now. When you say 3 states, you meant in brick and mortar.
Yes.
But as Ridge just said, there's almost 40 states where people can buy your products online and have them shipped to them. What 3 states are you guys in brick and mortar stores?
California, Texas, and Connecticut.
California, Texas, and
Connecticut.
And the other states that you're allowed to ship to, they're obviously allowed to carry the products in their stores as well.
100%.
So if people that are listening own stores and they want to carry your products, what's the best way for them to reach out to you guys to inquire about that?
Oh, reach out directly through our email that's on our site. We have a live chat that you can always send things to. We have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page. Really, any way, anything you contact DeltaVera, the team will answer, and we're really on the ground floor here. So, yeah, we have like a 12-hour response time.
That's fantastic. And then as far as individual consumers, wherever they are in the States, they can just go to DeltaVera.com, go to your shop link, and then pick out the products that they want. And then typically, how fast are those products shipped out?
Well, it's all USPS priority, so 2 to 3 days.
Okay, so they get the stuff fairly quickly.
Yeah.
When we talked a little bit, we've covered the products, the award-winning gummies, the website as far as where people can go buy them. Why do people choose DeltaVera over, let's say, some other product line? And I'll leave that to either one of you guys or both.
Yeah, I think we've spoken to it a bit in terms of the differences between Delta 8 and Delta 9, because that's certainly, a direct competitor in some senses, at least in legal states. I think beyond that, a lot of it just speaks for itself. I truly believe that the quality of our stuff is up there, absolutely top of the market, and that the transparency that accompanies that quality, that sort of 1-2 punch isn't really seen from other brands. You're generally getting one or the other. So that's a big part. And another thing is this addition of other minor cannabinoids. It provides for a much more holistic experience, in the sense that you're more likely to experience what's called the entourage effect, which is a cumulative effect of multiple cannabinoids potentiating each other, causing, like 1 + 1 is 3 in some cases with cannabinoids. And also just the additional ability for people to meet different needs, different specific needs they might have with these different minor cannabinoids, not just being restricted to just Delta 8. Sam, do you have stuff you want to say there?
Yeah, and we're also affordable. Our packaging is mostly sustainable and can be used for other things after. We really have a focus on tech and kind of accessibility, right? So it really just takes an iPhone to be able to figure out what exactly I'm taking, how much I should take, and what's in it, right? And that's pretty cool, where a lot of people don't have that. And I meant to mention, Peter, on the aspect of brick and mortar, the nice thing about our products is you don't have to be a licensed cannabis store to carry this. You don't have to be a smoke shop. You don't already have to have hemp or cannabis products in your inventory to sell this. You can be a gas station. You can be.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So it opens up the market a little bit.
So I want to go back to, and I really want to touch on this because it's really important. You guys have mentioned it, but I really want to emphasize this. You mentioned it in the beginning, Sam, and you just kind of mentioned it again now. I want people to understand that when you buy the product from DeltaVera and it comes to you, and Sam's been holding up the gummies, there's a code on it that you can literally take the code, enter that, go back to the website, put that into the batch, enter the number in the batch, and it will show you the COA for that batch of that product that you're taking. And that goes back to what Ridge was saying about the transparency of your company. For people that don't necessarily know what we're talking about, can you just elaborate a little bit how that goes out to a third-party lab and explain to people so that they understand, like, this is more transparent than when you buy a bag of chips at a Whole Foods?
Much more. Or any supplement, when you go to any CVS and you buy a bottle of 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, I don't think there's actually 1,000 in there, and they're definitely not making it easy for you to find out exactly how much is in there. Where with our product, we have it tested by not only the manufacturer, but by a third-party lab. So we are getting this double tested and having multiple COAs in front of us and making sure they line up for each batch. And then we're uploading those to our site where we house them and making them accessible to you and making them easy to read, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to read them. But with ours, you pretty self-explanatory. So it is very transparent, and it is consumer friendly.
And again, when you're shipping these products out to brick and mortar stores and someone's buying them there, the same codes are on those products, so that if someone's out there that's looking to carry this product in the store and bring this product to their customers, the customer can literally look this up while they're in the store before they purchase it
100%.
and know what they're getting, which is incredible.
Yeah, and we do supply any brick and mortar store that buys, a few cases of anything. We will print out larger versions of the QR code and have that in the display case, which we also do supply. So then anyone can come in and just take their iPhone and scan it. You can see on the poster behind me, I'm not sure if it's too small, but there's a QR code on our poster. So like any of our products have QR codes on them. You can look at them and it will show you exactly what it is. As you mentioned before, there is a unique batch number. So not all products will have the same batch number, obviously, because there are different distillates and used for each type of gummy. So there will be unique batch numbers, but it's all going through the same QR code to our site where you type in that batch number, and that will bring you to that specific product,
Now, Sam, did I hear you right? Did you say when you ship, if I didn't hear you right, I'm sorry. Did you say that you ship and you provide where the products are displayed?
Yes. So for any big purchases, we will provide display cases. For any purchases over X amount of dollars, we will provide display cases, as well as any recurring orders. And I think that also is when we send out our stuff, we do include hard copies of all the COAs, all the legal material that goes along with this, because for law enforcement, it is hard for them to kind of distinguish between, is this THC9, is this THC8? But with all our paperwork and licensing, we make it very easy for law enforcement and for the person who's buying it to be all above board.
That's incredible. I really see this expanding, this whole industry. I'm sure you guys do too. Ridge, is there anything that you want to add and anything that you want to go over that we didn't touch on that you think is important to have the people watching get an understanding of, or anything else?
I think we really stressed the relationship between our batch records and the transparency, which I agree is an important part of what makes DeltaVera a transparent company. I think the other important part, though, of our transparency is having conversations like this, trying to honestly appraise the research that's out there, understand the limitations of the claims we can make, and provide an experience that is not unduly influenced by anecdotal evidence on my end or Sam's end based on our own experiences, and try to provide to our customers what is honestly not always a complete answer to the question of what is this for? How is this going to make me feel? Because there are not concrete answers to those questions established in the literature yet. And so I think a critical additional aspect of our transparency is trying to, at every turn, recognize the limits of the existing science and provide what we can to influence a customer decision and to help educate someone without overstating the knowledge that does exist. And I think that that's one of the most prevalent issues in this industry. The batch records, in my opinion, need to be mandated. Like that should be something enforced by regulation, and hopefully will be down the line. But some of these other things, like Sam was making this comparison to supplements, that's the closest thing to a legal category that we fit in. But supplements are criminally underregulated by the FDA. And so we try to go the extra mile to go beyond what, your average vitamin D supplement or, a probiotic shot might contain in terms of information. And especially when it comes to misleading claims, like we're trying to make as few of those as possible. And while that may sound like a fairly low bar, if you look around at what else is out there in the industry, it's an extremely prevalent practice. So I want us to sort of highlight that aspect of our transparency as well.
All right, I want to go back to something that I thought was, that I want everyone to really understand. So you're saying that you're not required, are you saying that you're not required to have these batch records up on the site for people to see? Like you don't need to do that there, or there's companies out there. So you guys are just doing this voluntarily. You're spending the money to send the product out to a third-party lab. You're paying for that. You're putting it up there, and that's all your own doing. And that's what DeltaVera.
Well, that's why we started it, right? Was because there was just, I remember, I was dealing with some people that the product just wasn't lining up to the COAs, and the guy I was working with or working for was just like, yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's 8% off. Just push it through. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I don't want to be part of that type of business practice where that is acceptable, and I don't think it should ever be acceptable. And that's why we really do stress the transparency and double lab testing. So I think, as Rich said before, it is prevalent in this industry, and that's what we're really trying to avoid.
And that's why, we've started to see regulations, and severe ones in some states, that have prevented us from selling there entirely. Like we want to be able to set a standard for the industry that ensures some longevity to the legality of this product.
And brings credibility. I mean, the fact that you guys are out in front voluntarily doing things that you're not required to do should definitely create some confidence with certain consumers, knowing that, okay, here's what I'm putting in my mouth, or here's what I'm smoking, and this is the information to back it up. Sam, is there anything that you want to go over? One of the things I thought that was interesting is you did mention that the product was kosher in the beginning when we spoke on that. Is there anything else that you want to cover to the consumers? And do you have any sales going on right now, or any promotions that are happening that you want to let people know about?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first part, and then I'll answer the second part. We are actually doing, as Rich mentioned before, partnering with some Splash Nano, which is a nano emulsion company, and we're working on our new vegan, kosher, gluten-free, and calorie-free, all naturally sweetened, all naturally colored gummies, which we're very excited to bring to market. They should be on our site within the next month. And that's very interesting. They use monk fruit to sweeten it, so it's all natural. And second question, yeah, we are running a promotion right now, actually, with promo code FINDIT, all caps, one word, for 10% off on all our e-commerce sales. So that's what we're running now for the next couple of weeks. And yeah, as Rich mentioned before, I'll just give people a little bit of a visual of these shots that are coming out. That's 5 milligrams of Delta-8 and 5 milligrams of THCV. And that's kind of used for energetic high, and kind of a day usage. It's THCV is a very interesting compound and creates a very interesting effect. Very energetic. This is our good night shot, which is CBN, and Delta 8, and that is great for sleeping. And this last one is CBDA and Delta 8, and that is for recovery and pain, the CBDA.
So are those in liquid form?
These are in liquid form, and since they're nano-emulsified, they hit your bloodstream extremely quickly. So you don't really have that lag time, which you find with a lot of edibles or drinkables, where it's 30 minutes before you feel the effects. When you take one of our shots that will be coming to market in a month or so, you feel it almost instantly. Within 5 minutes, you're feeling something, which is.
So I know that you guys sell direct to consumer, but I'm looking back on my life, and I used to work in a grocery store a long time ago in Queens, New York. And one of the things I'm really recognizing is you're holding up these products. The size of the products don't take up a lot of shelf space.
No.
But I'm imagining that between the shelf space it takes up and the price points, the retail stores that could be carrying these products and making them available to their local consumers would be to their advantage, along with the ability that you guys must have. I know that you guys have a limit where if someone spends a certain amount of money on the website, they get free shipping. Is that correct?
Yep.
So can you go a little bit into what that level is where they're purchasing?
So currently we're running any order over $100, we'll give you free shipping, and our shipping is only $9.50 flat rate. So it is worth it a lot of the time, and a lot of our products, they last a long time, and they're also, I have friends that take a half a gummy a day, a full gummy a day, and it really works for them, and it's just makes their sleep patterns better, and just allows them to relax after a hard day's work. One of the main differences between Delta 8 and Delta 9, and I'll speak to myself and other people that I've spoken to, is that there's much less of that foggy feeling in the mind after taking one of our gummies. There's really not that hangover that's associated with taking high milligram dosages of Delta 9, which many people have spoken to. You'll hear people take a Delta 9 edible, before going to bed, and the next day they wake up and they're still foggy. And to me,
Right.
that's crazy. Like that doesn't make any sense to do that, to kind of interrupt your next morning's work because you wanted to get to sleep. So that's really one of the main reasons I love this product, is that it's a shorter lived experience. It's not
Right. Well, listen, I'm really glad that we got to make this time today. I know that you guys are busy with everything that you've got going on, so I really appreciate it. I definitely want to have you guys back as things evolve in the industry and discuss things further as things just progress and keep people informed and educated. Again, I want to thank Sam and Ridge from DeltaVera.com. You can go to their website and see their complete product line. If you're a retail store, you can reach out to them the same way by going to their website and sending them an email. I really appreciate you guys joining us today, and thank you so much. And look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you
for having us, Peter.
Thank you, guys.